Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. I am here. It is Saturday night. Where'd you go? Where did I go? Where is everyone? God, Christ. All right, folks. Sorry for the delay. If you're with me and you experience that technical issue, life sucks. But anyway, it's your buddy Mike Messier. It's a Saturday night. I have some things to do, and I wanted him to share this excitement with you. We're going to play a little What's in the Box. Now, this video is being simulcast on One Pro Wrestling and Sports Fan because this is a sports oriented box, and also on One Mike Messier, which is where I do Mike's Instant Movie Reviews because I'm going to instantly review a movie. Now, if you happen to be here, it's Saturday, July 27th, 2024. If you happen to be tuning in live time, you can comment. I will read your comment and I will address your issues, your problems, your situations, your questions, your queries, your statements. If not, if you're watching in the replay, that's wonderful. That's fine. If you subscribe to one of my channels, it could be One Mike Messier for Mike's Instant Movie Reviews and Life Rants. You can subscribe to One Pro Wrestling and Sports Fan and vice versa. So let's get into the movie review first, and then I'll do what's in the box. The Amazing Jonathan documentary. I watched this, I think, 2 days ago, and what do I think? I watched it at home. Is it worth a watch? I think it's worth a watch. I think it might play better to people that actually are involved in filmmaking, people that have made a movie, but not necessarily. I don't feel that I learned a lot about Jonathan. He passed away in 2022. I think I learned it was just clever. You know, like this documentary, the director's name is Ben something or other. He was put in a weird position by Jonathan himself, and he did the best with what he could. And this documentary is also kind of a commentary on the nature of documentary itself, and to an extent, the nature of popularity of documentaries in recent years. They do have some fun with that. And, but as far as do I feel like I learned the life story of Jonathan, he's kind of a shock comedian slash magician, rise to power or fame in the 80s and 90s. And unfortunately, the gentleman passed away in 2022. He had some form of cancer. And the documentary kind of starts off like a lot of documentaries, like, oh, the rise and fall. This guy, Jonathan, self-admittedly did a ton of drugs, a ton of illegal drugs. And, did the drugs lead to the cancer? We're not really sure, but it certainly didn't help. And then we kind of, I think we just kind of scratched the surface of what's going on here with Jonathan. And it's really not that riveting. I mean, some of the stuff is kind of interesting because they're showing VHS footage and stuff. But a lot of these techniques we've seen in other documentaries. The Amazing Jonathan documentary that's on, I think I saw it on Hulu, and it's 2019. Nothing was very thought provoking. In fact, I will admit I came close to turning it off because I just wasn't that entertained. I wasn't the biggest Jonathan fan. I'm not opposed to the guy. He just kind of was there for me. But eventually, something happened in this documentary. Spoilers, by the way, that actually made this thing pretty interesting, which is basically the director of our documentary here, Ben, finds out that there's another camera crew coming to one of his locations, one of the locations that Amazing Jonathan is going to be at. Basically, despite being more or less on his deathbed on borrowed time, Jonathan decides to go on a 5-show tour. And one of the venues was the Wilbur Theater in Boston, which I'm pretty sure I've been to once in my life for a stage play as an audience member. So it was nice to see New England up in this documentary. It was nice to see some stuff like that I was familiar with. but like I said, the swerve of this documentary is that Ben, the director, finds out that he's not the only person making a documentary about the Amazing Jonathan. There's a whole other camera crew going on that supposedly is affiliated with the gentleman that produced Man on the Wire, which was, I believe, a documentary about the guy, tight roping between the World Trade Center, which I think I have seen that documentary, and it is very good. So that producer is like an Academy Award winning documentarian. And Jonathan has been kind of told by these guys that they're associated with that guy. And so he basically greenlights another documentary to be made about him. So our director here, Ben, of the documentary we're watching, suddenly this becomes, as they say, very meta, very much a commentary of what we're watching. Like we're watching the documentary, which is becoming a documentary about the documentary being made. Now, if you're really a hardcore Mike Messier fan, if you've seen one Man in the Camera Films, another one of my YouTube channels, of like my 5 YouTube channels, you might have seen Disregard the Vampire, a Mike Messier documentary. I was in somewhat of a similar position, although I was actually making a narrative vampire film. And lo and behold, the lead actor could not fulfill the obligation, and the whole thing went nuts. And I made a documentary with that footage, which has been pretty well received. So I'm kind of familiar with this whole director, takes on the world, director gets swerved. What does he do? I've lived it, and I've made a documentary about it myself, which stands up pretty damn well. So my taste, I can relate to what this guy's going through, Ben. You know what I mean? Like this exact situation of your subject matter greenlighting a second documentary while you're making a documentary. It's clever, but for me, it's not that novel because I've kind of been there. Like I've been in those weird situations where you're trying to make one project and you can't do what you set out to do, so you have to swerve. So I do respect where Ben's coming from. But to be honest with you, I think my documentary is better. It's just more entertaining and it's shorter. It's 40 minutes. This Jonathan thing is like an hour and 15 or 30 minutes. I do give him respect, Ben. But once again, I've seen 2 or 3 or 4 of these documentaries, and I've made one myself where the documentarian has to switch gears, and it's kind of becoming a trope or a cliche itself, to tell you the truth. So now it's just a thing where I can't get that excited about it, but I do have respect for it, if that makes any sense. I mean, I make a comparison. Maybe 10 years ago, a friend of mine and I were in Maine, in Rockland, Maine, and we ended up going to this like hardcore seafood restaurant where it's like, fresh catch of the day type of seafood. And I ordered like the fisherman's platter or whatever the fuck. And it comes out and it's like this, like really like fresh saltwater fucking seafood. It's got the tentacles. It's all fucking like right from the fucking ocean. I'm like, this was not processed. This was not fried in vegetable oil. Like, what the fuck is this? Well, that was like the real seafood. That was like seafood that nobody inspected. It was like fresh from the fucking boat that afternoon. And it was hard for me to eat because I'm just used to this, stuff that's like vegetable oil and fried and French fries on the side. That's like my seafood. So whereas I respected this genuine seafood, I didn't like it. I respected the meal, but I didn't really care for it. And it's, I kind of have that with this movie, The Amazing Jonathan. But in this case, it wasn't that I didn't understand or it was so refined or so glorious, this documentary. It's just that, okay, I wish I would have learned more about Jonathan. I think what happens is Ben, the director, spends a lot of time telling us about his sob story. Unfortunately, his mother passed away at a young age, like he was 12 or 13. She seemed like a real sweetheart. They show like, video of his mom, and then I guess his mom got cancer or some such thing. And the little boy was kind of documenting his own mother's death or dying or illness. So it does, tear at the heartstrings. But did I learn a ton of Jonathan stuff? Not really. But I did feel empathy to the situation of you're trying to make this documentary and you got another camera crew coming in. And then the funniest part is that it's not just one other camera crew. Then there turns out to be a third guy who's like another magician who's like just a buddy of Jonathan, who was supposed to make a documentary, and he kind of fell by the wayside, but then he comes back. Then there's a fourth documentarian who's like some woman who, she basically donates her footage to Ben. Like he absorbs her documentary into his. Apparently, I looked it up on IMDb. The other main competition for the Ben's documentary was something called Always Amazing. I might go back and watch that. It seems to have a talking head interview with David Copperfield, who was at one point like the world's greatest magician. I think he was married to Claudia Schiffer. So excitement. I mean, how do I feel about this Amazing Jonathan doc? I guess I didn't love it, but I do respect it, and that's the best I can say about it. I mean, it's not a bad watch. If, like me, folks, there are things that I need to concentrate on. Like if there's a good, fight or a competition, like a UFC fight or something I really need to focus on, or a good movie, I'll give that my full attention. But a lot of things, I do like programming or podcasts that are kind of like background fodder. For me, if I'm driving my vehicle, that's when I like to listen to podcasts. If I'm at home on the computer, I have a second computer to like watch stuff, but that stuff has to be a secondary. Like it can't be like an intense movie. It has to be kind of like secondary level attention stuff. And it's just a really interesting thing that some things I will watch on that, like the Schitt's Creek show. I got into that as like a secondary form of entertainment. But something like The Office, which I love now, I never watched it in lifetime in the 2000s, but now I love The Office show. That's hard for me to watch on a secondary computer because I want to see the facial expressions of the comedians. Anyway, folks, now we're going to break into, some of you have a fetish for this. I've been trying to get you guys off of this, but the fan letters come in and people just tweet me and they X me and they demand, Mike, we want to see more of what's in the box. So, I mean, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you straight up. This one's a green box. I know what this is going to be. This was a green eBay purchase from not too long ago. This is for the One Pro Wrestling and Sports Fan YouTube channel. If you're only a subscriber to One Mike Messier, you're getting my movie reviews, but you're not getting the full Mike Messier Pro Wrestling and Sports. So this is where I do my pro wrestling and sports stuff. Mostly pro wrestling. I do some sports stuff. And that was actually the original Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel. For those of you that are really hardcore, if you've been around since whenever the fuck, you know that I used to have a channel that was called Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel. I broke up that channel about 1.5 years ago into all these wonderful divisions. So first off, I want to give credit to the individual, Bobby's Liquidation out of DeKalb, Illinois. He did a nice job with this. He did the old trick of like putting this stuff in a U.S. postal priority mailbox. Really nice job here, buddy. I give you credit. And then he put like a nice wrapper on top. And I'm probably going to have to order some of these boxes. Here's a little helpful hint, folks. You can order boxes. This is a medium flat rate box that he kind of folded up uniquely. You can get free boxes and stuff from the U.S. Post Office on their website. They'll send them to your very home for free. And if you do stuff like eBay trade or whatever, you can pay at home for your mailing. You don't have to wait in those long lines. There was a nice sale on those aluminum cups. All right, I know you're into this thing. If you have any further thoughts on that Amazing Jonathan documentary, or if you saw the other one, Always Amazing, I guess I have to watch that one now. I still have to watch all this Dune stuff. Okay, fine, folks. I will let you even look first. I have been selling a lot of stuff lately, but this was a purchase. Really nice condition. I'm going to have to I haven't given this guy a review yet. I'm going to give him like 5 stars across the board. This item came in very nicely. Bobby's Liquidation, props to you guys. I think you did a wonderful job with your packaging. And this item, I really want to like display this somehow. I'm kind of like a weird guy. Like I know you're supposed to keep things in the box, but I actually like to open stuff. Like I know it's from 1998, you know, so this probably was on the shelves in 98, 99, maybe even 97. It does say 98. It's from Pawtucket, Rhode Island. So Hasbro, I did have an aunt that worked for Hasbro. As some of you might know, I do have New England lineage. I will be making a tour up north to New England later in this year. For those of you that know or care, this is really exciting. Wow. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited. So you're saying, well, gee whiz, Mike, what are you excited about? Well, this is winning pairs. This is Mark Messier, Wayne Gretzky. And the reality is, for those of you that don't know this little stat, in fact, these guys, I believe, won three or four consecutive Stanley Cups together with the Edmonton Oilers? I want to say four, but it was 3 or 4. And after they stopped teaming together, which was really just a financial thing more than anything else, Mark Messier went to the New York Rangers, Madison Square Garden, and helped them win a Stanley Cup. Okay, New York City, MSG, 1994. Messier did that, and Wayne Gretzky went to LA to be with his wife, Janet Jones, in Los Angeles and play for the LA Kings. And Gretzky never won a cup without Messier. Gretzky never won a cup without Messier, but Messier won a cup without Gretzky, okay? So there you go, folks. Mark Messier, wonderful, and Wayne, really a wonderful twosome. I do have this sporting event, thanks to our good friends. See, we never do this. Like, we're always, shitting on people in China and stuff. But look at the wonderful things they've made for us. You know what I mean? Like, we should be nicer to Chinese people because it's like, or just China in general. We always complain about China or bitch about it, but it's like, they're the ones making all these products, you know what I mean, that we enjoy. I mean, I enjoy this product. So why shouldn't I say, hey, shout out to the Chinese people, shout out to the people in the, the labor camps or the people in the sweatshops. I mean, it sounds like I'm joking and I kind of am being smug or sarcastic or whatever the fuck. But if you think about it, that's why I don't really, I'm not one of these people that needs to go see the world, because I do kind of feel, and this might be egotistical, but as an American, you kind of get the benefits of all these things. Like, I can go to, Epcot and see like the best part of China on a fucking TV screen. I don't need to buy an airline ticket. I mean, I'm sort of joking, but I'm really not, because I just like convenience and I like safety. You know what I mean? And I don't feel like going and getting a fucking passport and getting on a plane. It's just too much work. Okay, for crying out loud. But I do appreciate everyone from Europe, and I've been getting a lot of people from Israel watching, which is exciting. Subscribe. Now we're going to go to our other box of the day. I know you really have this fetish for the cutting. You really kind of, it's kind of an odd day for me today. I gotta put these scissors away because I'm about to poke myself in the face. All right, so fine, folks. This is nice because now I've got, see, what you don't realize is not only do I have an item to enjoy, right? I have a nice item. I am also getting 2 boxes out of this scenario because, like, for me, like, the box is almost worth ordering stuff. You know what I mean? It's very exciting. Yes, this is Saturday night, folks, July 27th. If you happen to be watching, it was a muggy day. It rained. It was hot. My neck's killing me. Oh, my God. I haven't been able to do all my neck exercises. So, folks, I know what this one's going to be, too. This was an Amazon Prime Day purchase. I probably saved $20, maybe more on this purchase. So, I mean, hey, look, I have my items on Amazon: fighter, play basketball, bad girls with good tattoos. I'm an Amazon guy, hashtag whatever the fuck. But I don't have time to protest everything. You know what I mean? So, sorry. For those of you that care, I bought this wonderful... God, this is nice. Like, that's how it smells. Like, I'm not really a shoe sniffer, but I mean, I sniffed that shoe. So this is size 14 USA for our European friends. It's a 48.5 in Europe or a 13 in UK, 32 centimeters, 320 millimeters. This is awesome. Like, and here's the thing. You ready? I don't know. I've never owned this shoe before. This is a Reebok Royal BB 450. I've had the same type of shoe for a long time. Like, I always buy the same shoes so much that they became classics. This other style of Reebok with the Velcro strap. And I bought them so many times in my life, I know that they're reliable. And I've wavered into other shoes and not been satisfied. But I decided to do something a little bit different. I took a chance at the high school dance. And so here we go, folks. It's fully loaded with crap in it. I'm very excited. And look, it was a special buy one shoe, get one shoe free sale, which is exciting. So now I have two, one for each foot. But I like, you know what's this shitty thing with like a new pair of shoes? Like, I'll put these on and I'll be all excited because they're all, you know, clean and fresh and all that. And then I'll like step into mud, or like somebody will spill their fruit punch on my shoe the day that I bought it. You know what I mean? Like, eventually someone's going to spill their fruit punch on your fucking shoe, or you're going to step in mud. But the sooner it happens after you get the shoes, the more angry you are. Like, if you had this pair of shoes for a year and then you stepped in mud or stepped in fruit punch, or someone dropped their fruit punch or their mud on your shoe, you wouldn't be so upset. You'd be like, I had that shoe for a year. It was overdue to get fruit punch. But if it's like the first day, then you're irate. I mean, once upon a time in my life, I had this wonderful pair of glasses. I had them for a day. And then I was playing shooting basketball with a friend of mine. The ball became askew. I chased after the ball, and I ended up, there was like a big chain. And I don't know what I was thinking, but I was trying to get the ball by not going underneath the chain, by just kind of reaching over, and I hit my noggin with my glasses, hit the chain, like this thick, heavy chain, and the glasses got scratched. And I had the glasses for like a day, and then I had to live with that pair of glasses for like a year, and I was irate. But had that had happened, you know, after even a month or more, it would have been not as bad. Well, that's it, folks. So I mean, look, the Amazing Jonathan documentary, it was okay. It wasn't great. I mean, I respect it more than I like it. Like I said, it reminded me too much of my own situation. And there's been a few other docs like that I've seen lately where something goofy happens, and there's another thing, and guilty as charged. But when a documentarian kind of makes himself the subject matter of the doc, which I did in my thing, and I've done that a few times, it's a little bit of a cop-out. And so you have to have a really engaging personality or good editing or both to pull it off. And no offense to Ben, he's a sympathetic guy, this documentarian of the Amazing Jonathan. I'm sympathetic towards his plight, and he seems like a nice enough dude, but he's not terribly entertaining. You know what I mean? So I feel like his doc, it's got a clever little switcheroo, you know, like, what do you do when there's other documentarians making the same doc you are, the same subject matter? But I don't feel like he nailed it to a cross on this one. You know what I mean? I feel like it's okay, but not great. And that's about it, folks. So if you have any, you know, topics or whatever the fuck, I was going to get into the Olympics. I don't think I'm going to this year. I think I'm going to just take a pass and just save all that energy and all that time. There's just too much talking between events and stuff. MikeMessier.com. Once again, One Man in the Camera Films. You can find Disregard the Vampire, Mike Messier documentary. There's a special situation going on with that channel. Somebody just chimed in here. If you have a comment, make it real quick. I'm about to wrap this up. But Disregard the Vampire, Mike Messier documentary on One Man in a Camera Films. One Mike Messier for Mike's Instant Movie Review. One Pro Wrestling and Sports Fan YouTube channel. Have a wonderful Sunday, folks, tomorrow. And MikeMessier.com.